What's poppin', everybody? This is Cerebral54 here once again to show you guys an old school Yugioh deck profile, this time from 2008, and we're going to be looking at a Destiny and Dragoon fusion deck. So the sort of period for this deck is when Light of Destruction came out, and obviously we got this card became available in the format. And during that period, it was just around when the emergency Banlist came out. Before that, Dark Arm Return sort of reigned supreme. And with the emergency Banlist, a lot of Darkness went to 2. Dimension Fusion got banned. And I think that was it. Nothing else worth mentioning. Light of Destruction came out, sort of light would come to overcome the darkness. But this is a darkness deck still. Destiny and Dragoon. So let's get into it. We got the main card, 3 Destiny and Dragoon fusion monsters. And actually, I need to mention, this is not a chain material deck. It's a more of a traditional fusion deck. You guys will see, but it's not the chain material version. And if you guys don't know what that is, Google it. I might show a chain material version as well eventually. But this is the main card, Destiny and Dragoon. You need Destiny Hero Plasma and Destiny Hero Dogma to fusion summon it. And you can't use any fusion substitutes, fusion substitute effect monsters. It has to be those exact 2 monsters, so it has that limitation. And this guy, he's 3k defense, 3k attack. You get him out. The really great effect is that every time he's dead in the graveyard during your standby phase, you can remove from play 1 Destiny Hero monster, and then you can special summon him. So he's great. He sort of floats in a way. So you go through the trouble to get him out. He should be able to survive even when they kill it with stuff like Mirror Force and I don't know, like other sorts of destruction. Dark Arm Dragon perhaps, Lightshorn. They kill him. If they don't remove him from play, then he'll revive once again, as long as you have Destiny Hero monsters. And his other effect, you can essentially sacrifice your battle phase, he won't be able to attack, and then he's a one-sided ring of destruction. You destroy one of your opponent's monsters and inflict damage equal to their attack. You can attack if you do this. If you destroy a face-down defense monster, you don't get to inflict any damage. But it's another very good effect. So if they have a bunch of powerful monsters, and then it's in your best interest to just do this, you would be able to do more damage that way, then you can do it. Obviously, if you have more than 1 down, you can gain the effect like 2 times if you have 2, or 3 if you have 3, and then inflict a lot of direct damage that way. But anyway, this is the main guy we're going to try and get out. Now, we do have 2 Dark Arm Dragon. Dark Arm Dragon was at 3, but I'm playing 2 in this deck because this isn't a Dark Arm Dragon deck. But this is still a very good card you can just bring out. You can control your graveyard nicely with this deck since this guy removes Destiny Hero monsters. So it's good. A lot of the Teledad slash Dark Arm Return engine is here as well. The D-Draw engine, I guess, is the right phrase. So this guy, we can easily control the graveyard. You can summon him. He's obviously going to win you games. It's great when you can summon this guy, summon Dad, maybe you have another monster, and just overwhelm the opponent, go for an OTK. This guy's going to help you OTK. So great card, wins games. So Dark Arm Dragon. Then we got 3 Destiny Hero Plasma. You obviously need to play this guy at 3 as one of the main materials for Destiny and Dragoon. And he's actually not bad. I don't want to say we're going to be summoning him all the time, but it can come up that you can actually summon him, like actually summon Plasma on the field. Negate your opponent's effects monsters, steal a monster. You know, he's very good, of course, but we're going to use him for Destiny and Dragoon. Okay, next up is Dogma, the other material for Destiny and Dragoon. This guy, his big 3k, once again you could summon him, I suppose, like Plasma. Maybe you're gonna get 1, but he does need specifically a Destiny Hero monster down. I mean, we do have the heroes, but this guy can be any 3 monsters. Wouldn't really recommend it. If you're gonna summon any one of these big guys, it's gonna be Plasma, but I mean, you could summon him. 34k, and he halves your opponent's life points as well during their standby phase. So the other guy. And then we go to the hero engine. I've got the Elemental Hail Stratos. This guy is amazing. Of course, he was at 1. He'll be able to fetch any hero monster and obviously fetch Dogma and Plasma, gather our pieces to fusion summon, so you gotta run him. And of course, you gain the effect when he's summoned from the graveyard too. So he's usually your best target to Monster Reborn. We don't really have any great targets to Monster Reborn or Premature Burial in this deck. This guy is probably the best one. And of course, this commander as well. Let's not forget about this commander. Okay, we got double Diabolic or Malicious. Another Destiny hero that makes sense to run in this deck. Of course, de-draw target. +1, we can get a body on the field if I remove this guy from the graveyard and then summon the other one from the deck. Crush card target as well. And this is important. So, makes sense to run this guy. And it helps with, like I've said, maybe you're going to have 3 bodies on the board and you can perhaps special summon Destiny Hero Plasma and just go that route, depending on the game state. So, he helps with that. Then we got the 1 Disc Commander. This card needs no explanation. I think, no, it was at 1 even before the emergency ban list, but or I think it got banned actually after the ban list. Oh, it was a 1. I believe he remained at 1. Yeah, if it got banned, I wouldn't have this in the deck. So, Commander, and every time he arrives from the graveyard, you draw 2 cards. De-draw target, crush card target, broken with Reborn and Premature Burial, and that's basically it. And we can fetch it with Rhoda as well. So these are the heroes, not too many, but we gotta go in this direction. And then I've got double Armageddon Knight. The reason we run this guy is because he's an insta-dark monster to the graveyard on summon, and we don't have to minus with Dark Grepher. This isn't necessarily a more fancy combo deck with Grepher. We just need to basically get a dark monster in the graveyard for free, and this guy lets us do this. And I'm gonna show you guys later, but he's essentially like another searcher because we can summon him, put like a monster like Dogma or Plasma, and then use the Warrior Returning Alive and instantly get that sort of a dark monster back in hand, get that warrior. So he's a searcher in a way. Deck Thinning, of course. He can help us set up Dark Arm Dragon, of course, is another card that can do that. Throw this commander, use Premature Burial, revive the dude, draw 2 cards. So obviously sending sending monsters in the graveyard has always been powerful. Well, not always, but when Phantom Darkness and this sort of period came about, you guys know what I mean. He's obviously going to do what he's going to do. Send monsters and help us make our combos within the deck. Alright, hopefully that made sense. Next up we got the 1 Sangan. Sangan was at 1, of course. He can fetch me Armageddon Knight, fetch me D-Heroes, fetch me lots of stuff. It's going to fetch the next card too, which you guys are going to see. So 1 Sangan, gotta run it, crush card target. And then we got triple King of the Swamp. Now, before you guys roast me in the comments, I'm well aware, of course, that we can't use this card to fusion summon Destiny and Dragoon. Like I said in the beginning, he's one of those fusion monsters that needs his exact materials. You can't use any substitutes. But the point of this card, of course, is to discard it and fetch Polymerization from the deck to the hand. And the other reason is that, of course, as a monster, instead of using something like Fusion Sage, which is a spell card that lets you grab a Polymerization, this, you can set it, so sometimes you can't really do much. You can at least have play a defensive monster on the board, protect yourself a little bit. It's not like we normal summon a lot in this deck. If you don't have stuff like Stratos, Sangan, Armageddon Knight, you can't really normal summon much. So that's one thing we can do with him. And of course, since he's fetchable with Sangan as well, it means it's a more consistent thing to run as opposed to running Fusion Sage. He's a monster, we can discard it, we can grab Polymerization, but you can also play it down, set it, plays like that. So this is why he's better. I guess you could run Fusion Sages, run Diamond Dude, and have that sort of a Diamond turbo deck in a way, but Diamond Guy isn't that effective in this deck because, yeah, we can reveal the Polymerization, but if you can't really utilize it on your turn, then you just sacrifice it for nothing, and you don't want to do that. So this is why I'm running the deck like this. But anyway, these are the monsters. Now we move on to spells. Allure of Darkness, 2 of this, and triple Destiny Draw, and then 1 trade-in. So the reason why we run the cards like these, I mean, obviously D-Draw speaks for itself. A D-Draw engine, we use this, discard the Destiny Heroes draw cards. And then Allure of Darkness is the generic draw removal card. Sacrifice, remove from play any dark monster. So it's great. And because it went to 2, obviously we can't run 3. And its replacement is 1 trade-in. Now, you could do more, you could do a lot of different stuff, to be honest, with this deck. Run more trade-ins, run other level 8 monsters, maybe run even the Dreadmaster too, do a bunch of stuff. But we don't really, I mean, you can afford to sacrifice 1 Dogma or a Plasma, or just sacrifice a few of them depending on the game state. Obviously, they're D-Draw targets and trade-in targets in this deck, but you don't want to go overboard. So this is why I just want trade-in. I don't want to just discard all of my level 8 dudes, which are my materials for Destiny and Dragoon. So that's the point. So this sort of replaces the 1 Allure of Darkness, should be good enough, and it's going to get the job done. Okay, next up, special summoning time. We got our way to fuse, and it is the OG Polymerization. Yeah, this is the one for Fusion and Forces, the alternate artwork I've waited for a long time. And it's going to be really good. It's our method to fusion summon Destiny and Dragoon pretty much. During that time it was this and Fusion Gate essentially, that's it. The chain material fusion gate method. So nothing else to add, searchable with the King of the Swap. And that's the point. Okay, you want to see this, of course, as fast as possible. Then I've got 1 Fusion Recovery. This is a great card, +1 essentially. Once you do Fusion Summon, it's going to let you get Polymerization back and get 1 of your materials back too. So it helps us basically, if you have the right cards in hand, Fusion Summon twice in a turn, or just Fusion Summon extra times in general. Get your materials and Fusion Summon again. Okay. And we need all of the pluses we can get in a deck like this, because obviously you minus a lot and you need some sort of recovery. This is the best card for that. Right, next up we got Reinforcement of the Army, 2 of this card. Get our warriors into the hand, get Stratos, get this commander, even get Armageddon, and you can summon him or lure him away depending on the game state. So a great card, consistency. And then we got triple the warrior returning alive. So this deck is pretty straightforward. It doesn't really have I mean, obviously you can play Dark Arm Dragon, you can win in other ways, but really it's all about getting Destiny and Dragoon. And the warrior returning alive is going to help us with that. Once you fusion summon, you know, like I've said, you get a piece back with fusion recovery. You can get the other piece with the warrior returning alive. It's a great card to help you get Stratos again. So if you summon Stratos, get your search, and then he dies, and the next turn your opponent does a bunch of stuff, kills it. You can use this, get him back, reuse him, get another piece, then fusion summon. Of course, you can get any weak Destiny hero, any warrior basically, and we can make a D-Draw alive once again if you don't have any other D hero. It's just a very flexible card. The fact that you can get any warrior type from your graveyard to your hand, no limitations with level, attribute, or anything. It's just great, and it just helps us get the pieces that we need to make the plays that we need, depending on the game state. So you gotta run this, and of course it's the combo with Armageddon Knight, Searcher essentially, additional Searcher. Next up, it's stable time. I've got the Brain Control and the Revival cards, Premature Burial, Monster Reborn, Brain Control, and I guess let's put the Heavy Storm and MST as well. So these are spell stables. Brain Control, of course, helps you steal an opponent's monster, win the game. You can use it to tribute for, I guess, malicious in a desperate situation. Perhaps help you play Plasma down, even Dogma, you never know. So it's something, of course, Steel Monsters win the game. Monster Born in Premature Burial, re-summon Stratos, special summon, of course, this Commander, draw cards, just stable cards basically. I don't know why I'm talking so much about them. And we gotta have spell and trap removal in this deck, Heavy Storm and 1 MST. MST was at 1, so you can only run 1. These cards are pretty important. I mean, spell and trap removal is important in general, but it's more important in our case because we definitely want to get rid of Bottomless Trap Hole. That's probably your biggest fear against this deck. And maybe Solemn Judgment. Just traps that can be a nuisance for Destiny and Dragoon. He doesn't care too much about Torrential. He doesn't care too much about Mirror Force and traps that are just going to send him in the graveyard. But he does hate traps that are going to remove him from play. Even Compulse would be very annoying. So this is why we run them. And this is why we also run the Royal Decree in this deck. The only two traps in this deck are Crush Card Virus and Royal Decree. Crush Card is pretty self-explanatory. If the people that had this card back then, you ran it if you could. You even ran this in Lightsworn if you could. Find a way to just throw it in any deck pretty much. Because it just wins you games. It's a 1-card win condition. Too good. And obviously we have enough dark targets in this deck to make it work. And then Royal Decree. This card is essentially, since we don't run basically any traps besides Crush Card Virus, and you're gonna only set this when you know you're gonna resolve it. You're not gonna set it for it to get destroyed. Just leave it there so it gets destroyed. If your opponent has MST, I mean, it's gonna get destroyed, and it is what it is. But you're essentially gonna set this when you're gonna use it. At least the way I run it. I never want to put this card in a position where it's just gonna get destroyed and get wasted. Basically, it's too good. So because of this, and because we pretty much don't have any traps, Royal Decree makes a lot of sense in this deck. It helps with Destiny and Dragoon. Of course, it's gonna negate your opponent's traps, and our guys are gonna be safe essentially. So this is the point of this card. This was the deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You can test this deck out against meta decks from 2008 like Lightsworn, Glad Beasts, and Dark Armor Turn. Playing the 2008 format is of course great, but you know of another cool format? That will be the original Yu-Gi-Oh era format of Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon through Dark Crisis 2002-2003. If you're interested in these old school formats, please check this book out. This is my book. I cover everything from deck lists, ban lists, all the key cards, from promotional products, the main sets, and just a complete analysis of all those formats, set by sets, as the cards came staggeringly, all the key cards that shape those formats. So if you're interested, link will be in the description. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. What's up?